Welcome to Lead Stronger Longer, the podcast that empowers you to lead purposefully at work, at home, and in life. We are talking about reinvention, possibility, and impact today. My special guest is Cathy Derksen. She is the passionate founder of Inspired Tenacity. She's an international speaker, she's a publisher, and a 20-time #1 best-selling author. After reimagining her life in her 50s, Cathy discovered her mission to help midlife women embrace new adventures and boldly share their stories. She has helped more than 200 women step into authorship, and in doing so, step into new leadership. This conversation is all about how you can rewrite your story and lead from a place of courage and enlightenment. Super excited to have you, Cathy. Thank you. We start with your favorite mantra or guiding principle or quote. What's yours?
One of my favorites is don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive.
Okay, that's super powerful. How does that show up for you personally in a
Well,
day-to-day, right?
I would say it's really kind of become the backbone of everything I do, that it really is all about finding out what your passion is and going and doing it, not just thinking about it, not just talking about it, but actually go do it.
So clearly you are passionate about writing and sharing words and then having inspiring others to write. And I would really love to know how you got to this specialization. What led to this?
Yes, and I often look back and think it's kind of funny, really. If you'd asked me 5 years ago if I saw myself doing something like this, I would have laughed at you because there was nothing in my past that pointed in this direction. And I just found as I got started in sharing stories, and at first, of course, I was just one of the authors in other people's books, but I found I loved the journey, and every book is a different community. Every book takes you in a different direction with your own story. And then when I started bringing together my own books and my own community, I found that that really was my sweet spot, was the bringing together of these other women from around the world and giving them that platform and that support and encouragement to be sharing their story and using their story to leave a legacy, build their business, and the whole feeling of stepping into new possibilities is a huge part of my focus.
Yeah, that's powerful. I love that. And I love that as you were describing your journey and talking about the community and that you saw it, and I could really see the evolution as you were sharing that story, bringing it all together and bringing the insight. Now clearly you have that ability to share in such a gentle way. I've been privileged to observe you and watch how you've put things together, put voices together, put communities together into these books, and really make an elegant impact in a way where, sometimes we forget that there is such that we do have a voice, and it doesn't mean that it has to be in one of those block books, right? That, a blockbuster or a New York Times bestseller. Now we have such a gift to be able to share our voice in ways that it's more accessible to everyone. And I love that. And I really appreciate that. One of the questions that takes us a little deeper on our podcast is that we ask about an early breakdown that led to the breakthrough. So maybe sometimes we have seasons in our lives that are just not going great, but these are the stories that we most learn from. Is there one that you can share with us?
Well, I would say that the part that I guess would be the breakdown would have been when I realized that my marriage was toxic and abusive, and it just really hit me that I have to get out of here. I have to get my kids out of here. We need to start a new life. that is out of this toxic environment. And that's really where the whole kind of journey led. Before that, I'd been working a job for 25 years. My original career was in medical genetics, so very different than everything I'm doing, like I mentioned, what I'm doing now. And so at that time, I describe it like I threw my life up in the air and reinvented it on the way back down. So left the marriage, obviously left the family home, two teenagers with me, realized I needed to start a whole new career. So all those things happening at the same time. And it was kind of in that journey that I started that thinking of, what is my purpose? What am I really here for? What are my passions? Because, I would say in my early life, I didn't really think about that. I thought about, what's a job? What can I do? I've, gone to university. Now what's next? But never really stopped to think, what do I actually want to do? And I think especially for those of us in midlife, quite often we're feeling like that. Like what I did before was great, but what am I doing for the next 30 years? And so I would say that that whole thing of the divorce and all that chaos and upheaval of just reinventing everything was the beginning of the path that led me to where I am now.
Mm. This is not that uncommon anymore for because I get to interview a lot of people, and it's actually more common than you'd realize. And I find it fascinating. It's not that you just clearly don't regret it. You clearly don't regret that part of
No.
your life. And that's what I'm also seeing and hearing is those that are resilient and really take those hard times as opportunities
Yes.
and opportunities to find something so much deeper and more beautiful inside themselves. And so I bet there's something that you would tell your younger self, and maybe your younger self wouldn't have listened. I know myself probably wouldn't have heard it. Certain things that we'd want to say to them, watch that pitfall there. But I think that if those that are listening to this podcast now could take this, and they I've been doing these enough now. We're at 130, not your episode will be
Oh,
140.
congratulations.
And the thing is that sometimes we don't have the mentors in our lives that are willing to tell us the truth of what they went through. And if
Yeah.
we can listen to their experience and then see if there's a way that we can use that tool or that nugget to help navigate some of the difficulties that we might be going through, with the caveat that ultimately you are responsible for your life if you are genuinely leading your own thoughts and this is what we teach, right? This is about aligning your thoughts and your heart and your actions. We see a world now that's topsy-turvy because we have not been in alignment with our thoughts and our emotions and our actions. We've been led uh, uh, like lamb, I was going to say like lambs to the slaughter. Well, mainly because we've been ignorant and we haven't been able to listen to our own truth and story, and those that are around us have been order followers. So now, this whole purpose is to really begin leading yourself, and to do that in a way that's powerful and strong, not this force based on control, which um, I'll, we can't speak for him, but your husband, your former, and many of us who have ended marriages because there is this paradigm that's shifting of being order followers, and you do what I say, and that kind of really weird thinking. I mean, if you think about it, that's weird, right? You can't lead yourself, and we need to lead ourselves. So, okay, with all that, Cathy, I think you have some wisdom that you would be able to share to your younger self, or to, what would you share?
Mm. I think a big part of it is around trusting yourself.
Mm,
Like what you were mentioning too, that, we all have an intuition, but I would say our culture has kind of taught us not to listen to it, not to pay
right.
attention to it, to listen to those people with the instructions instead of listening to our own intuition. And to me, I think that's really been one of I would say has been my guiding light through all of the chaos and rebuilding and restructuring and everything that I've come through was that I learned to listen to my intuition. I learned to
How?
trust it.
How did you learn that? What did you do?
I think it was really a trial and error thing.
Mm,
And I think it probably was too, kind of in that chaos. It's almost like that calm in the storm. There was a strength,
mm,
almost was like a lighthouse of come this way, that was just like you say, it's not loud and it's not out there. It's just this calm, centering message. And I would say that everything I'm doing now has been because I learned to listen to my intuition.
mm. That's beautiful and so subtle. And that's where I think we tend to forget because there's this world that's just fire hosing nonsense, and then we
Big
get
and
connected
flashy.
to it, right? And it's exactly the antithesis to being connected to your intuition, and that's the nourishing piece. That's where the deliciousness of life comes, and whether it's intense, like I can be intense passion, or just this calm grace of passion that's coming through you. And I love that because it's a nice juxtaposition from my intense energy to have guests like you. No, it's so true. And I really appreciate that because it helps me ground, and it's a great reflection, I think, to remind us that, oh my gosh, the incredible gifts. And I just think about the new book that you just had come out with, Linda, and just it's like some of them are jaw-dropping stories where you just forget the subtle nuances of everyday life are so beautiful. Why are we chasing after this, fake, the facades over there? The reality of what we are and who we are is such a beautiful gift. So I love that you're doing what you're doing. And I mean, what a gift. So I will take it to the next question, which is, what's your favorite book recommendation?
Well, right now, my favorite book recommendation will be my new book that's coming out. It's called Passion, Purpose, and Possibilities.
Perfect.
So again, another group of, I think we've got 23 women, 22 or 23 women from many corners of the world,
Mm,
all sharing how those three words connect for them.
so good. And so when does that come out?
September 30th is the
Oh,
official launch
nice.
date.
Perfect. Okay. Plus 20 other of your books. Yeah. I think that one of the things that's wonderful, and I hope that folks, if you're resonating with Cathy and you want to reach out and actually publish your own book or be part of a collaborative, that you reach out to Cathy. She's incredible to work with, incredible to be around, and just to allow your voice to be definitely heard, but then also shared in a way that's healthy and safe, and I was going to say intriguing, right? So the part of that, because sometimes women won't toot their own horn,
Yes.
but your story's so important. It's not about tooting your horn or, oh, look what you did. It's about, wow, that's something that's going to truly inspire someone. And I love
Yes.
that. I love your business name, Inspired Tenacity. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So as we as we wrap up, is there anything in terms of, so if someone wants to reach out specifically, how would they best reach you?
Well, as far as social media goes, LinkedIn is where I hang out.
Okay.
So definitely find me there. And my website is inspiredtenacity.com. And so on there, you'll find free PDF downloads of several of my books. You'll find obviously links also to go purchase them on Amazon. You'll find lists of my current projects. So if you're interested in jumping into a multi-author book, then we've always got options. And of course, I'm always open to new ideas as well. So if you've got an idea for a theme for a book, then let me know. And yeah, I would love to chat.
That's awesome. Yep, I would say you're probably the number one go-to for collaborative books. I would absolutely trust Cathy Derksen. So reach out to Inspired Tenacity. In the meantime, we know that leadership starts within. It starts with yourself first. And that is about aligning yourself. And sometimes you'll wake up and recognize, whoa, I'm in a marriage or a career or a this or a that, that maybe I wouldn't choose if I, knowing what I know now. And I think that that's okay. And I think that there's a lot of women as well as men. There are, we're all going through our journeys. And that when we can recognize that and remove those stigmas and the judgments and just be and be grateful and tell the truth. Like that's the first thing I'm saying in my book, Lead Stronger Longer. If the moment we lie to ourselves, that's when the chaos starts happening. That's when the confusion happens. But the moment you tell the truth to yourself, and you start to recognize it, and that essence of calm allows for you to tap into that deep intuition that Cathy was talking about. So I appreciate this. Thank you so much for your grace and wisdom. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here on Lead Stronger Longer. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.